Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Collector's Edition Wave 2 Crisis on Infinite Earths Firestorm. This is the first traditional Firestorm figure McFarlane has made. Yeah, they made the Black Lantern Death Storm a while ago, and it's a cool figure, but I've been wanting a regular Firestorm for a while. I pre-ordered this guy from the McFarlane toy store, and it's finally here today. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, part of the McFarlane Collector's Edition, DC Multiverse Firestorm. Here he is in the package. We have a ton of hands, some with fire energy effects. He has a collector's card, a display stand, and another display stand for the collector's card. One side of the package, McFarlane Collector's Edition Firestorm from Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is the fourth figure in the Collector's Edition subline. Other side, not much going on. The back, here's Firestorm from the comics. And at the bottom, a bunch of credits, and there's his barcode. So no further ado, let's open him up. And I did get the entire bundle from the McFarlane toy store. Between the bundle discount and the coupon code, I paid slightly less than retail for all these figures, even after shipping in Texas. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He has a display stand, a collector's card, a display stand for the collector's card, 8 alternate hands, totaling 10 interchangeable hands, 4 of which have fire effects attached. But before I take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Firestorm. His real identity is Ronald Raymond and Martin Stein. You might think, how is he two different people? Well, typically it's his teacher and then a student. A nuclear accident turned them into Firestorm. They're both inside of there. One adult, very intelligent. One a little bit younger, also very intelligent. Now this is the classic traditional version from Crisis on Infinite Earths. I really like getting these classic traditional figures from McFarlane. So let's take a look. Start with his head here. Looks great. He's got the fire coming out of his hair. Sculpt is good. Paint job is good. Face, kind of a blank expression, white eyes, but it looks just like he should look. The red wrapped around his face. This is done with the Superman page puncher body. We have, I don't know, white sort of straps on there. The 2 hands with the fire effects look great, and he has 2 more of them. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. As a whole, this figure looks fantastic, and he's going to be a great addition to the DC Classics collection. And I do want to give my 2 cents on the McFarlane Collector's Edition figures. These things are priced at $29.99, $10 more than the regular figure, which is $19.99, although they're creeping up to $22.99 some places. Now, these figures do have extra stuff. We have the display stand for the collector's card, which I don't care at all about. Firestorm here has a shit ton of hands. At least they decked him out with a bunch of accessories. He should have had a flight stand included. And personally, I think the price should be $24.99. I don't see the justification for $10 extra. That goes for all of the 6 Collector's Edition figures released so far. I think $10 is really an unfair ask for what you're getting. And it's very unlike McFarlane to do a cash grab like that. Typically, they offer the best value in the market, so a little surprised. McFarlane has actually acknowledged that and said the future waves are going to be a little bit more worth your while. Still, I'm very happy with this wave, but I just wanted to add my 2 cents there. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I like it. I think it's very well done. And here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. Let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's a display stand. Typical McFarlane stand we've seen a million times before. Very thin, very basic. Now for his collector's card and display stand. As you can see, it's an image of Firestorm from the comics, McFarlane Collector's Edition. Now I'm pretty sure this image is from a lot more modern than the Crisis comics. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. And if you wanted to display the collector's card in its display stand, it's going to look like this. This means pretty much nothing to me. I'll put the card with the rest of my cards, a display stand, into a bin of stands. But if you display your figures like that, here you go. Now let's take a look at his hands. He has a total of 10 of them, 4 of which have flame effects. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. Then his next pair of hands. This is a pair of flight hands. And here's his next pair of hands. His left hand is an open sort of grabbing hand. And his right hand has got his index finger pointing. And now for his effect hands. Here are 2 fists surrounded by balls of fire. Pretty cool hand. A little bit on the flat side. But could you imagine getting punched by one of those things? And here's his final pair of hands. His left hand is kind of open. It's got flame around it. Could see him choking somebody with that. And this one here is sort of shooting out a projectile flame. Now I wanted to check out the reuse between Firestorm and the Page Puncher Superman. And there's not a lot of reused parts, but there's a couple. Obviously, the heads are totally different. The top part of the torso, I think it's totally different. And if they did use the same pieces, they altered it so much it doesn't matter. The stomach is exactly the same. The arms are different. The diaper is different. The legs appear to be the same. They have the same sort of sculpting wrinkles on them. But at least they completely changed the bottom part of the leg from the boot down. So it's really just the top part of the legs and the stomach. So not a lot of reuse. And this is smart reuse. You can't tell, and it doesn't matter at all. Firestorm here looks fantastic. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From the bottom to the very top of his flame hair, standing at about 7.5 inches tall, which can translate to about 19 centimeters. Now for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down, very good amount. Tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. Butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering a large gap. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbow below that. His wrist can rotate and is going to be hinged. In his torso, he's got a ball joint. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist. Rotate around, forward and back, both pretty tight. Between the two, pretty good range of motion on this guy. So you get a little more out of the torso than the waist on him. Legs, complete have splits, not a ball joint. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. The legs, you go forward about this much, kind of spread them out as you go forward. Back, not much at all. Double jointed knees, and his ankle, forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, to articulation. Here's a look at Firestorm in a burnt down house surrounded by flames. And here he is when he's really angry. I don't know if he's ever found the actual limit to his powers. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Firestorm figures. Here he is, next to the DC Direct or DC Collectibles Arrowverse Firestorm. Not quite as fond of his look, but the basic elements are there. And here he is, next to a McFarlane DC Multiverse Deathstorm. Deathstorm is Firestorm as a Black Lantern, as he's died and been reanimated as sort of a Black Lantern corpse. I knew eventually they'd give us a Firestorm figure when they made Deathstorm, and I thought he would share a lot of the same parts, but I don't see anything shared between these figures. Here he is, next to the rest of the Collector's Edition Wave 2, Firestorm, Sinestro, and Hawkman, all in their pretty much iconic, traditional, normal looks. I'd say Firestorm is the star of the wave, then Sinestro, and then Hawkman. Now in the first wave of Collector's figures, each and every one had a Platinum Chase variant, and I have no idea if that's the same for these guys. It kind of seems like it's not the case. I think we would have heard something by now. But if they did a Platinum Chase variant, here are my quick thoughts. We could have Firestorm, but a black version. Then we could have Sinestro, but redone in the Green Lantern outfit. And then Hawkman, maybe with the Sky Tyrant wings. I know they'd never do that, though. And here he is, next to the first wave of Collector's figures. We have both versions of the first appearance Superman, both versions of Abyss, and both versions of the Alan Scott Green Lantern. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Amazon exclusive Batman, Clayface, and Batwoman Rebirth 3-pack. And here he is, next to the Amazon exclusive Atomic Skull vs. Superman 2-pack. Then, next to the Batman Ultimate Movie 6-pack. And now, next to some more Amazon exclusive figures. These are the glow-in-the-dark figures. John Stewart Green Lantern, Swamp Thing, and the Infected Batman. Here's Firestorm. Next is some recent Entertainment Earth exclusive gold label figures. We have the Sketch, Rebirth Superman, and the Batman Who Laughs. Then the Blacklight, Infinite Frontier, Joker, and Scarecrow. And here he is, next to the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman. This is the Amazon exclusive that came with the Batmobile. Then, next to the two most recent McFarlane Mega figures, the Justice Buster and Anti-Monitor. And now, next to the Hush Superman, the Tim Drake Robin, and both versions of the DC Classics Riddler. Here's Firestorm, next to some recent gold label McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures. We have the patina variant of Superman as Unchained Armor and Superboy Prime, then Catman and Dick Grayson Robin. Then, with the recent Blue Beetle movie wave, we have the regular Blue Beetle, Carapace, and Battle Mode Blue Beetle. And finally, next to some recent Target exclusive Jokerized releases. Now check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which ones you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all McFarlane toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, next to some Jakks Pacific and Diamond Select toys. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and some NECA figures. Then, next to my car keys, here's Firestorm, next to both some Mattel and some Jazzwares wrestling figures. Then, next to both some Mezco and some Mattel DC figures. And now, with some Mafex and some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, Firestorm is a fantastic figure. He's in his classic, iconic look, and I appreciate that. His accessories are plentiful, kind of helps offset that collector price point. The reuse is also at a minimum, a lot less than the first wave of collector's figures. His accessories are great, his articulation is good, sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a solid 8 out of 10. I'm not even a big fan of Firestorm, but I'd say he's the best figure of the wave, the star of the show here. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.